Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Justin. We're going to start doing some videos on doing some repairs on cars and get you flipped around here and show you what we got going on. It's a 2003 Pontiac, Montana. And if anybody's tried to change a set of plugs or coils on these things, they are a pain. You cannot, of course you can now because I've got everything out, but you cannot get back here to those back plugs or the coil packs. So what you have to do is you have to pull these front motor mounts loose, both on the front. Now some of them you'll have to pull your air box, some different hoses, different lines, but on this year model it's not required. But basically you'll pull these two mounts, find you a good place to hook you a ratchet strap, and I'm hooked right here on the little engine block you pull the motor with in front of the alternator. Just hook there, hook back around the core support, ratchet that bad boy forward, and as you see, there's a good 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches worth of clearance there. I'm going to roll this engine forward enough where you can actually get back here. I also had to remove my windshield wiper arm there, because ended up not being able to get my coils out because it was in the way. I actually ended up having to pull the alternator because my plug back here, which is number 5, no, let's see, not sure what number, it's number 4. That plug was in there. I mean, it was seized up. My guess is it was the original factory plug, which has 200,000 miles on it. So when they're in there that long, they get stuck pretty good. So I had to end up pulling the alternator in order to get that plug out because I couldn't get my arms back there. But yeah, so it's pretty much required to pull the plugs and coils off this thing. And when you pull the plugs out, or the coils out, this is the way it's set up. Hang on, it's kind of hard to do this with one hand. This plate sits there, just like so, and your coils sit on top of that. Back here, you've got this bolt hole here, that bolt hole there. Also, let me see if I can get you back here and show you. Let's see. These studs here, there's one here, and there's that one there. Those two studs, the way this sits in here, this plate. Now you also had to take this plate and all if you're going to change your plugs. At least with my experience, I had to pull the coils and all off of this heatsink in order to get my coils out. Now it might not be in your case, I'm not sure, but depending on the year. Let's see, get this thing back in here. Anyway, she sits in there just like that. Like I said, those two studs, it just wraps around and sits down on there. Now, a lot of times, these things, if anybody's ever changed the plugs in them because they're so irritating, you'll have two nuts down there on those two studs on the back. A lot of times, people will not put those back on there because, like I said, they're irritating. So, what you'll end up having is just a bolt here and a bolt there, which is fine. It's enough to hold it. It's not going to go nowhere. But I've seen videos where people's taking it apart and they just had these two and they said, well, you know, there's no nuts back there, they don't have them. But if the plugs haven't been changed or if somebody put the nuts back, they're there. So when you take these two out and don't come off, that's why. And I noticed too, it's easier to get to those bolts if you'll go ahead and take the 5.5 millimeter socket and take the coils off, or take a couple of them off, then you can get your hand back there. So you know, your coils, if those is 5.5 millimeter, take the coils off of them. There's only 2 of them that pop right out of there. Another thing I would do when you do these is you'll see most of your coils have, factory coils will have numbered cylinders. What I do is I'll mark 1 from the passenger side coming out, 2 from the passenger side coming out, and then 3, which I didn't mark that one because I knew it was there. But I do that so that way I can pull my coils out, set them aside, and I'll know how to put them back when I go back because I'm putting new coils on. So what I do is I mark the new ones same as the ones that came out. Also, if you're going to do this, if you're new to mechanic work, never done plugs before, make sure you mark your plug wires. And as you see, my coils are marked there, factory marks. And also, I'll take a Sharpie and I will see, where's this one at? Just put 3 marks on there, and it gives me number 3. That one's dotted. Number 4. That one's dotted. Number 5. So if you'll do that, you will be able to put everything back together in the order it came out, because otherwise you're going to be looking up firing order on these things, and this car is not so bad to find firing order on. It's not so bad to get it back in the plugs back right, but a lot of vehicles are, so a little piece of advice there. But yeah, we'll get it put back together and show you it runs. Well, we got her back together. Motor mounts are done. All new plugs, plug wires. And you can see what I was talking about no room. Alternator's back on, belt's back on. Now she hadn't been started in, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. She does have an exhaust leak. Now when I started doing this, it was missing real bad. And of course I found I had a plug that the wire was bad and it wasn't firing at all. And that does have an exhaust leak, which I'm sure you'll probably hear that when we start it up. It has a lifter that's sticking. It's got a little bit of a tick to it, but I just bought it and I'm doing a little bit of work to it, trying to get it straightened out and roadworthy. And I just a couple weeks ago put a water pump in it and done a bunch of other work to it, so that's the reason it's been down for a few days. But we're gonna start her up. It's cold start. It's the first time it's been started in a while. And yeah, it has no door panels on the front. Some of the previous owner tore them out, and that's actually oil dry on the floor, trying to get some moisture out, because when I got it, these window switches are bad on these things, about going bad, so I had to put some new window switches in it. Windows were cracked a little bit, the floors was wet. Let's see. Key ignition here. Now see, she's got 208,000 miles on it, so she's pretty used up. We've got to change the oil. It's calling for oil change. So let's see what she'll do here. Well, and that killed the check engine light, of course, because like I said, it was firing on 5 cylinders. So let's see what she sounds like. Now, like I said, she's got a little bit of a tick and a bad exhaust leak. And the exhaust is about ready to come off of it. I got to do that, weld it up, do some work to it. And she's got a little bit of a chirp to the belt. When I got it, the oil pump or the water pump was leaking, so it seems to the exhaust leaking there. When I got it, the water pump was leaking and the belt started slipping, so it come off, and I got to replace the belt. The belt don't look that great, but I just put it back on there. See what she sounds like. Not too bad. Maybe she'll have that 5 horses that she was missing. Engine light's back on. Probably have to clear some codes. Check that out. Ain't no big deal. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching.